Welcome to part 2, what you've all been waiting for. Why was this movie so bad? The bad? Well, to start, the timeline in this movie is absolutely jacked. It is very unclear in certain points as to exactly what's taking place when and where, but essentially we start off pretty immediately after the end of The Force Awakens. Now, it shows the Resistance on a ship fleeing, so there's a little bit of time that's passed, but we also see Rey handing Luke the lightsaber, so it can't have been that long. But we really don't know. Doesn't make sense that it would take place over such a short period of time. Now, if you're dealing with certain aspects, it works, but as far as making a believable story and having me buy into these characters, no. I don't care about anybody in this new trilogy, aside from Kylo Ren and Luke. And what they did to Luke was a travesty. I'm going to talk about him at the very end because it's a disgrace what they did to my boy Mark Hamill. He's a legend, modern-day god, and he deserved so much better. The character of Luke Skywalker deserves so much better. The fans deserved so much better. On top of the timeline, the next issue I want to move on to is the humor. The humor in this movie, it was about as funny as someone telling a joke in the middle of a funeral. Like, there was maybe 3 or 4 moments that I laughed at. The rest, I was cringing in my seat. Finn? Hey, Chrome Dome! Really? What is this, 1993? We have to somehow buy into, now every movie has to have that Marvel formula for putting humor in their movies. I love the MCU just as much as I love Star Wars, but that works in the MCU. That's it. And even then, a lot of people are getting sick and tired of that shit in the Marvel movies, and I understand completely. Throughout this movie, there are so many scenes that are supposed to be serious that they just completely undermine by telling some stupid joke at the end. We open up with Poe flying around attacking the Dreadnought, taking out all the cannons, and he's trying to patch in and talk to Hux. And we get a just torturous minute-long joke about Poe going back and forth with Hux of, "Oh, I'll wait for General Hux. Tell him I'm holding. This is General Hux. Oh, wait, General Hux? Oh, well, I'll hold for him. Yeah, no, General Hugs? Oh, okay, yeah." And then Hux's little boy, I think he's toying with you, sir." Shut up. That was just, you're flying in the middle of space attacking a dreadnought, and you're just throwing out these corny jokes. And every time Finn opened his mouth, it had to end with some stupid joke. They're on Snoke's ship when it gets attacked and he's fighting Phasma, and the whole place is on fire, exploding, blowing up, and it's just joke after joke after joke after joke the entire time. And it did not land at all. A couple jokes here and there were alright, but Star Wars has never been a comedy. Yes, there are plenty of funny moments throughout the original trilogy, the prequels. Rogue One, not so much, because that was just a study on depression. But, the Star Wars canon, the main ones, they've always had their appeal as far as humor, but it wasn't forced humor. It was, Han Solo being that kind of asshole, edgy whippersnapper of, I don't care about anybody but myself, and I'm gonna be a dick to people, and that was the humor. It wasn't purposely written in jokes that were just crowbarred in, that nobody in their right mind put in these situations in real life would be making these comments. Here and there it would work, but when you do it every single scene, and you undermine every single moment of dramatic tension, it just takes me out of the movie. Why should I give a shit about this movie when every serious point you immediately throw in a joke afterwards, and it's not even a well-constructed joke? Talk about low-hanging fruit. It's terrible. It's just really bad. That was one of my... Usually I'll let things slide, and I have to sit back and analyze a movie after I see it to really think about the things that bother me. But as I was watching this movie, I kept turning to my sister and just making this face like, you have got to be kidding me. It was just cringeworthy is the only way to put it. I don't know what else to say other than it was some of the least funny humor. It would be like, if you put this in the Marvel Universe, it would be the least funny movie in the Marvel Universe. And it's using the Marvel formula. But that's how terribly executed it is. On top of that, segue into the next point, Phasma. I mentioned her before. You want to talk about a disappointing character and a waste of one of the most amazing actresses on the planet. Gwendolyn Christie is the bomb. She is killer. She's amazing on Game of Thrones. She just has this presence. Even when she's acting as Phasma and she gets, 30 seconds of screen time, she just has this commanding presence about her. It's super cool. And after the last movie, we're told, oh yeah, well, Phasma didn't really have a big role. It was just the way it worked out, but we're definitely going to get to her in the next movie. They released a book telling all this Phasma backstory, and essentially, for those of you that haven't read it, we find out that Phasma is the baddest motherfucker in the First Order. Like, you want to fight Phasma one-on-one, hand-to-hand, she's going to kill you every time. She is a warrior, and one of the best ones in the galaxy. And they just treat her like a joke in this. Why are you releasing books that are supposedly canon and then directly contradicting them in the next movie? She shows up about 75-80% of the way through the movie. She randomly pops her head in, like we all forgot that she was even in Star Wars, and she just shows up at the end, like, oh yeah, hey guys, we forgot about Phasma, let's just throw her in somewhere. And of course we get the typical supervillain monologue to where Finn and Rose, when they're on their super secret meeting with the hacker to break into the shield generators, or the tracking device, I apologize there, Finn gets into a fight with her, and that's it. The extent of her in this movie is one fight scene with Finn. And that's after Finn and Rose were captured, and instead of just shooting them on the spot like, anybody else would do, she goes, oh no, we've got to make this hurt. So bring them to the bridge and let's torture them. Walk them through the ship, just in enough time for them to be saved by the rebels. So they bring them on the bridge of the ship, and they got these laser things that they're about to hold up to their face, and I don't know what they cut them, burn them, whatever. But it's, on my mark, we'll start torturing them. 1, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4, 2 16/17, and then, this is where Holdo splits through the ship, and of course, this is the perfect distraction for them to get away. They have this explosion, everything's in disarray. Then Rose and Finn are trying to make their escape, and somehow, Phasma and 8 troops come walking forward through the flames, holding their guns, slow motion, badass, like they were just right here. How did they all of a sudden regroup, move across the ship to make this cool entrance to walk through the flames and attack them? So that scene that we had shoved down our throat in the trailers of Finn attacking Phasma and they're fighting, going back and forth, it was like a minute-long fight scene.